welcome to a very special episode, Ishy's Liveout Superstars. And why I say this is special, because we are all in need. And we are in need of your support. Today is a celebration of Autism Awareness Day, where everybody celebrates your uniqueness of being autistic and expressing yourself as a neurodivergent. I feel like this is important to bring awareness to everybody that feels unsure about themselves and not really giving themselves an opportunity to shine. I feel like it's a way of presenting yourself and just giving yourself more confidence in being prone to who you are. So today I got some very exciting guests again with the return of
Brixton.
And today I bring in a very special person along with us.
Hussein, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you all. Welcome back, Brixton. Nice to meet you, Hussein.
Thank you.
First time meeting. How are you feeling today?
Very hot today, can't complain, but I'm excited to be here. So,
Yeah, about you, Brixton?
I'm chilled and excited.
Yeah, no, I'm excited as well. I'm excited. This is actually really interesting. It's that time of year again. 2nd of April is the Autism Awareness Day where we all come together. And we're not going to just be talking to each other. We're going to be talking to you, the audience, the watchers. You have given us some questions and Q&As and some submissions that we are going to be answering today. But we're going to be doing that shortly. We're going to start off with sharing some stories of how we got here, how we have become who we are today. I'd start off with myself, brief introduction. So I am Ishmael Gage, also known as Ishy, and I am on the mild autistic spectrum. And I got diagnosed at the age of 2. I got told, well, my mum got told by the doctors that not to expect too much of me from life and not to achieve too much and just to not progress. And by knowing this, I never spoke. I didn't speak at the time a normal toddler was supposed to speak. So by the age of 5, that's when I started talking again. For 3 years, I weren't speaking. And throughout that time, the way I communicated was very interesting. It was by direction of imagery. I'm a very visual person. That's how I know myself to be. That's why I'm so obsessed with like the artistic nature of things around me, the creative stuff, which is why I'm a graphic designer, which I'm a graduate at from university, which I graduated in last November. So yeah, I definitely have come a long way. I've definitely felt like in school I struggled to be accepted by people because I've always struggled to make friends or maintain friends and be accepted. I've always tried to be a people's pleaser and tried to put myself in a place where I act like someone I'm not. And for a long time, I was very oblivious to how it would impact me. But I would like to say, obviously, to you, what is autism? Well, how would you describe autism?
Well, autism would be like where you'd have it's basically communication barrier and delay, like process delay basically. So like, you have like delay, there's gonna be like a little delay processing stuff or communication or like reactiveness.
Yeah, I agree. That's how I process autism as well. For me, I think how he says it, yeah.
So like say normal, I quote, person would like, react to stuff quickly, they'll problem solve quick. But with autistic people, I feel like there's gonna be a little bit of,
delay. Yeah, I agree. I think for me, how I've always seen autism to be is Yeah, just literally a processing delay. The way people react to things initially, I say their reflexes are not as quick as others. So I say in school for me, because I'm not academic, I always struggled to get straight to the point. So something simple, like just a little maths problem or certain humor, because as autistic people, or as we see autistic people, they're not prone to humor. They take things a bit too direct, and I feel like that's how people are too literal about things. I think the way autism is perceived is obviously in that way. I let you know, like, do you think people always get confused with autism, like in some way or form?
People get confused. Like, in what way?
Like misdiagnosed autism, or like mislabeled autism for something else.
I have no idea. I'd say, yeah, they kind of do, because some people will be like, oh, I'm autistic.
Yeah. I feel like
But I feel like these days people use it as a trend and without any like deeper understanding.
Yeah, I feel like that too. I feel like autism is a very big trend. Well, people try to make autism a trend now, and it's like, oh, everyone wants to be autistic. And I feel like back when we was young, like I say 10 years ago, autism was such a problem to people. People are always having a problem, having an issue. And I thought like everyone just wants to easily throw the word autism for everything now. I'm not really too bothered about it because I'm unfiltered. I don't. I try not to take offense to everything. And one thing about me, I've never been insecure about my autism. I've never felt any sort of way. I've never felt like I was less of myself because of it. But what you got to say for it?
It's a good thing you say that you are not insecure, because throughout, let's say, 22, not even 22, like 18 years of my life, let's say, 18 years of my life, I've been, hiding it from people, social media especially. People in primary school knew in year 6.
Yeah.
So like people did, apart from the TAs and teachers, my classmates did not know until year 6. And then my therapists,
Yeah.
my therapist, I wrote something on like a piece of paper about things I would like to overcome. I was like, you know what, I'd like to make more friends with people. I'd like people to be accepting of me, because I felt like in the 5, 6, 7 years, I wasn't really too accepted. I only had like 1 or 2 friends from primary school throughout.
Okay.
I did not have any friends. I mean, they'd play with me for a bit and then they'll forget me. They'd play with me for a bit and then they'll forget me, and they'll think that I'm always very weird for following them around.
I literally got the same treatment. Okay, well,
I used to think I was not weird because of my autism, but because I was always in their space, I was always in their face, but they didn't want me to play with them. Sometimes they'll be acceptive, so that it was a bit wishy-washy.
it is a bit annoying though, because like I wasn't aware that you've kept this to yourself for so long, because obviously people like to mask these things, and it's really
I
hard.
masked for so long.
Yeah, I think for me, where was I? I had the same issue with school. Obviously, one thing about me, I'm very attached. I have attachment issues. I used to have heavy attachment issues back in school. So where I used to like somebody or want to be friends with somebody, I would just like leech onto them and wouldn't leave them alone, wouldn't give them personal space, or sometimes what was the big do? Texting them all the time. Like I used to obviously take their social media handles, like BBM, BlackBerry. That used to be a thing. I used to always text them.
They'll tell you, oh, F up this and that.
Yeah, I used to always get that type of treatment. It's like I would always be like, hi, how are you, this and that. I'm always trying to make conversation, and you're just like, can you leave me alone? Or not even.
Why do they accept me?
Block me. Because sometimes they feel sorry for you. That's why I would always get. People would always feel sorry for me.
Yeah, people would feel sorry. They didn't really feel sorry for me because they didn't even know. But yes, I had to tell people in year 6. So let's say about 2-3 months before leaving year 6 to go to secondary, because those that don't know, I went to a special needs school.
Mm.
I told people, my therapist, I wasn't even in the room, but my therapist told people that I was autistic, and that's why I don't have many friends, and that's why sometimes I was lower level, because also I was quite low in academics in primary. So like there'll be like these SFA groups, like English maths groups, where I'd be like the lower level, while everybody else would be like advancing to level 3, level 4 stuff. I'll be still learning 1 + 1, 2 + 2.
That was just me. I'll say one thing. I think some of you have known this already in my previous autism videos because I do this every year. But I was kept back a year in primary school. So I actually skipped a year, and I obviously, instead of going into year 4, which I never experienced going into year 4, I went straight from year 3 to year 5. I was in reception. When it was time for me to go into year 1, I got kept back for an extra year in reception whilst the rest of my year group went on beyond me. And then it got to a point after year 3, people asked my age. I told them how old I was. I think the age barrier for that is year 3s.
Year 3 is like 7 to 8 years old.
7 to 8 years old. I was 8 to 9 years old. And people were telling me, oh, you're way too old to be in my class. Why are you here? I'm like, I don't know. That's just how I'm based. And then I was on tour.
I was going to tell, I'm going to add one thing. When I was in year 6 as well, everybody was doing their normal maths class. I had to go to year 3 to be doing maths and English.
You had some year 3 classes?
I had to go to year 3 classes there because the TA that helped me with my maths, because I used to struggle with maths, and I sort of still do, but you know, with percentages, multiplication, division, I'm okay with that now.
Okay, fair enough.
I used to have delayed it, but I think my English was decent, but
so was
secondary school, my English improved.
So was you always in was you in special needs school from primary school to secondary, or was
primary was mainstream? Everything, college, primary was mainstream.
Just secondary school?
Just secondary, that was.
So how come secondary school was the only mainstream, only special needs school?
Because that's where my parents placed me. I have no real answer. I didn't want to go there myself.
Well, we can continue this chat, but let's get Hussein in. Hello again. Sorry to keep you in the lurch.
It's okay.
But we definitely want to start getting your input in. Of course, you're not autistic. You have ADHD, and that's also welcome because all neurodivergent people are welcome. And this could help insight on for some that may not understand what you have. If you feel like you have something in you that you can't ever feel comfortable completing, then this is the way to go forward. He can help you with that. I can help you with that. So what would you tell me about your ADHD?
So I grew up with ADHD when I was around year 4. I did not know what it was at the time.
Yeah. Let me just put that. Yeah,
so I really couldn't recognize it. And I think it was like that time where I just felt like I couldn't focus on certain stuff. English for me was my top favorite subject. I loved everything about reading.
Yeah.
This was my favorite thing. But with the dyslexia, I struggled with some words. So my mom got these manga boxes. And then that started my reading.
Okay.
So I pushed myself to reading maths. I mean, so manga.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, and then manga was great and helped me read books like Narnia, Harry Potter, The Rings, and I overcame my dyslexia.
Okay.
But the only problem with that is that I struggled with words. Even when I was a little kid, I was like, what does that word mean, you know? So I had these glasses for me, and then they were grey.
Yeah.
I was very happy about that. But maths was also, like you said, a very struggling topic for me as well, you know? I didn't like maths at all at school. I feel like I learned some parts of it, and some parts I didn't. Like, I feel like it can be usually good for the real world, but maths and I just never get on. We never connect.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Okay, I understand that. So obviously the mathematical aspect in your brain, it's just not there. It wasn't complete. But
I haven't really in primary school.
Yeah, what was you gonna say, Richard?
Something to add with the ADHD. I feel like, I don't know, with ADHD, I feel like a lot of them did somewhat struggle with maths, because I had someone in my special needs from year 7 to 11, and he said, who cannot be named, by the way, he's always said that, he doesn't like maths, he struggles with maths. I feel like it's a neurodivergent thing, because, maths, it's a lot of problem solving.
Yeah, I thought like obviously this calculated.
And I also did not know about ADHD. I knew about autism from very young, but I did not know about ADHD at all. I feel like also going to a special needs school has helped me in some way because I did not know, like I said, I didn't know about ADHD. So it's helped me get understanding of how people struggled and how people have different needs, not just autism. Because when I went to secondary school, I had the people in my mind thinking that they were either disabled, like, can't walk, or are autistic. But there's a range of different needs. There's personality disorder, there's dyslexia. I've known about dyslexia as well, but I did not know that was a special need. I thought,
So I was going to say also, I grew up with mainstream throughout primary and secondary school. I'm studying myself business management and English. So I'm hopefully one day getting myself an admin job. That's my end goal, to
Oh wait, what do you want to say, sorry?
administration assistant.
Oh, okay.
So I want to work in office. I got inspired by Jim.
Yeah.
Office, of course, I just love the idea of working in office, this ideal environment, network people, teamwork, and it's just nice for anyone with disability, Accept you if you're willing,
Yeah, I think obviously again, like Rickson just said, for me, I didn't really know ADHD was a thing until I got into year 7, because even though I've always been in a mainstream school, I've never been to a special needs school. I've always been brought up in a mainstream environment, but I was struggling again. So like SATs in year 6, I always needed extra time, or I never passed them. I always failed them because I wouldn't be able to understand.
I managed to pass them for some reason. Yeah, I think year 6, my academics somewhat started to progress.
Look at you.
I passed my English SAT, but I didn't pass my math SAT. And when I got that spoon from my mom, she was like, Hussein. But she understood and she said, don't worry, we'll improve it one day. And
Yeah.
she basically tried to tell me.
So I've got a question. If you didn't pass your SATs, how did you get into... I don't know, but they made it seem like without SATs, you can't get into secondary school.
I actually thought that at the time. I think, well, they gave me an ulterior motive, which was to go into nurture group. So when I went into secondary school, I was glad that I got into secondary school, but obviously, I wouldn't say downsides. It was more for helping me develop. But the only thing of me getting into secondary school was go to nurture group. So for those that don't know what a nurture group is, I had to go into a smaller classroom. So mainstream classrooms have pretty much around like 20 people. I was in a classroom full of like 5-6 people.
Yes.
And then that was the first time I got introduced to ADHD, because I had ADHD students in my class. Obviously, you may not be the same as this, but everyone's different.
Did you have to do your A-levels at university with your autism?
I will say right now, I never got into A-levels. I went into college because I unfortunately failed my GCSEs. I didn't pass all of them. I didn't get enough grades to get into sixth form. And that was my dream, which is obviously another thing I will just get onto quickly. For the longest time ever, I wanted to do graphic design. And every opportunity I tried to get, I'd never get into it. I wanted to do graphic design for my GCSEs. My predicted grades for maths was bad. So what did they do? They put me into media studies instead and catering. Then I wanted to do graphic design for sixth form, for A-levels. Didn't get into that either because I didn't have enough grades. So I've always started myself in that way of, I'm never going to be a graphic designer. At the time, I had a passion in game design. Because I'm into video games a lot. I love game characters. I love all the animations, the animated designs and stuff. Obviously, my interest in Sonic. I'm a big, huge, massive Sonic the Hedgehog fan. That's one thing.
Sonic's a great movie.
Yeah.
The third one was a great movie.
Absolutely. And I feel like now, obviously, getting into uni. I honestly thought it was so hard to get in. And obviously, I applied, before I applied for uni into graphic design, I was going to carry on with my game design career. Until it got to a point where it was boring. I kind of lost the will to design because you have to program, and I wasn't really in the head capacity to learn coding, all of that stuff.
Oh, because you're not experienced with programming. You didn't
Yeah,
learn
and
it at school.
I like making stuff. I don't like technical. I mean, I am technical.
My brother is an electrical engineer. He has ADHD himself.
Yeah.
And he's very good with maths. So he struggled a lot of English, so he can understand it as well. But with his like math skills, he's very clever with engineering. Like, you can ask any circuit, he's got it. Like,
That's good.
it's really cool to have that.
I feel
As
like-
a brother, that's really smart, you know?
Do you think with ADHD, do you feel like your head circulates rapidly
I mean,
in terms of like how you think? Let me rephrase that. Does it cause you to be hyperactive?
sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. So like, I get really creative and really active, if that makes sense. So like, for example, I love to do swimming.
Okay.
ADHD. Sometimes I can do about 10 laps in the deep end.
Oh, alright.
So I
Alright.
practice myself
Go
to
swimming
get that,
athlete,
you know
yeah,
what I
we
mean,
like
you know?
that.
That physique, you know?
Sick.
But whenever I focus on something, I'm dead on with it.
Yeah, so you're locked in.
I'm locked in.
We love that. And what else you got added for that, me?
Yeah, it's quite good that you can get locked in. Yes, as well. It's the same with maths. Once you put your mind into it, you can actually do it. And that's what I thought in the end. And then, my maths started, I started getting, that's when I started passing my level 1 maths because I was not ready for GCSE. And to be honest, later on, like, let's say towards the end of college, I just thought, I want to do functional school. I don't want to do GCSE maths. I just thought level 2 functional is enough for me to get to where I want to go, whether it's a job, uni, other stuff. Because, most, good jobs ask for, let's say, I quote that, will ask for, level 2 English and
I was gonna say,
maths.
I feel like, I was gonna study myself to do English, right? So I did myself, I'm doing kind of functional English. But you can always do like an LVQ if you struggle with GCSE.
Yeah.
The business.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can get myself a decent job. Uni is not always the option for people
Yeah.
with disabilities. Like, there are many people who can do it, but like, still what's up to your heart, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
There are many famous people with disabilities like Leonardo da Vinci, Albert Einstein,
Yeah.
and Steve Jobs, and they have dyslexia, ADHD, and autism, Some of them are very successful people, and some of them don't have degrees, if you think about it. Elon Musk, in fact, has a disability, He knows that
Yeah.
he's on the spectrum of, I think, autism, but ADHD.
Speaking to that one, a question to both of you would be, when did you become aware of ADHD or autism being a thing? What was the age that you preferably remember realizing that you're autistic or have ADHD?
I became aware when I was about 10 or 9 or 11, and I realized that I couldn't focus on one thing.
Yeah, 1 year, 2. I don't exactly remember when I was aware, but I've always knew that I had a problem, but...
And when did you start to address it to yourself?
I didn't know the word, the terminology. That's what my mum told me. I think which was around year 4 when I was told to eat the grass by people.
Oh, and that's when you start to realize that's happening.
That's the word, yes. I knew I'd had something, but I didn't know the terminology for it.
That's crazy. I think I actually started to become aware of it from a very young age. I've always known at least year 1. I was 7 years old, 6 years old, and I just remember having certain habits I was doing, let's say for example,
Yeah.
I've always had teaching assistants up until college. No, up until end of college, I always had TAs. So I'd always have somebody shadowing me across the classrooms. Somebody's always sitting next to me in the classroom, always trying to help me with my work because I don't understand quickly than other people. So I will just be made to just have the special support system in place with me. So I always have that. And then I remember there's been certain places, well, I'm not going to say the deep stuff for what I did to teachers, but I will say the one I can say and mention is throwing chairs. at teachers in the classroom. I used to throw tantrums, throw chairs. Literally, I used to be dragged out of the classroom, carried out of the classroom all the
I
time.
can relate because when I was ADHD, I used to not struggle with some maths, and I used to get so angry,
Yeah.
and people would look at me, he's saying, "Are you okay?" Like,
Yeah.
But this thing, I didn't mean like in a horrible way. It was just my brain
Yeah.
not open, at the time, and I just told myself it'll be fine. And they used to keep me in a room. I used to cool down.
Oh wow! So you actually got put into like an isolation room.
Exactly. But this is like mainstream.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Life,
Yeah.
And they kept me to calm down. They talked to me, someone like a counselor. They're saying, "Why are you so angry?" I say, "I struggle with maths. What if I fail in life?"
Yeah.
And they say, "Just say, don't worry about it. Listen, you're not a failure. Just keep going."
Yeah. I mean, again, I am fortunate. Well, I've been one of those people that's never really ever been in self-doubt of my autism. I think for me, I've always been subconscious to how I am around people. I am very unapologetic, which is why I'm unapologetic. I always do things how I want to do them. Nobody can tell me how to do them. Nobody can tell me anything. Obviously, I used to get really bullied, heavily bullied, extremely bullied in school. I'm sure you've experienced the same thing based on what you told me. My worst experience, obviously, I didn't start experiencing that until secondary school. So I was all cute, funny, fuzzly, bubbly back in primary school. Up until I got into year 7, my first week of year 7, I got beaten up, battered in the school toilet.
That's terrible.
Just because I was different from everyone else.
Was
Literally,
it a group of people, or was it just some guy?
it started off with one person, but a group of people were there and watched. It didn't help me.
I'm terrible, sorry.
And then I also remember that I used to get picked on. I used to go to after school clubs, like IT clubs. Everybody would be playing or listening to like certain music, like again, like there's trendy music. Everyone, of course, I'm into trendy music now. But back then, when everybody, let's say developmental stages, I was very late into the development stage. Everybody was moving in terms of fast, listening to more adult, mature music. I was listening to like game music, like music of video game soundtracks, like Mario Kart soundtracks.
Me, it was always punk rock, Like,
Yeah. For me, I'd always listen to like the Mario Kart soundtracks or the Sonic theme tunes and stuff, and people would start laughing at me and making fun of me.
I was gonna say, for me, it was always rock music. So whenever like got angry, I just kept on bashing my pillows,
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was just the music for me, because I never listened to that trendy music that much. But when I just listened to rock music, it was in my zone, Anything early 2000s, don't take me back.
It just got me. It got me. I liked it. I mean, I'd never hidden myself from doing it. I would carry on listening to it and doing stuff like that. But I used to wind people up. So what happened? People would find me after school, try and beat me up. Always try and chase after me. I used to get followed home by the school crowd. It got to a point where a teacher literally had to take me to a secret exit at one point because I was being horrifically like bullied to the point that people want to try and hurt me all the
I used to
time.
also get bullied. Back then, I just have an iPhone back then. I have this flip phone.
Yes.
Someone used to give me, and this like yourself, I didn't have an iPhone back then.
Yeah.
And everyone just looked at me and just like, why do you have such a granny phone? You're saying that's such an old
Oh
phone.
wow.
And I'm like, just because I don't have your trendy phone, it doesn't mean it's old. It was like the style at the time. Everyone had iPhones and stuff, and I just feel like I got left out. I got FMO, does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely. Well, before I start talking about my views, Rixton, when you was getting bullied, what did you feel at the time? How did you experience it? And
I think the bullying was not based on my special needs directly. I mean, it kind of could play a part because we are all different. We're all different from everybody. So I think it all came from name calling. But people then later on in secondary were aware of that I was autistic. They knew I had special needs, but they thought autistic was just one thing. I was listening by this one particular person who had ADHD. He did not know. I mean, he was calling me names and stuff. He did not know that I was autistic because he thought, because he had to share a cab ride with someone who had like severe autism. So he thought that was that one person, that autistic people would be like that. But he didn't know that it was very broad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it just depends. Obviously, being autistic comes with many things. Go on.
Did you ever feel like with your autism, did you ever feel like, without, do you ever feel like some people were just jealous of what was that majority? Like, they didn't see it as a gift, you know?
I feel like,
You saw it as a gift.
I was on the gifted and talented list in school because of my creativity. But I wouldn't say people were ever jealous of my autism. I feel like at the time, no. I didn't feel like, I know at the time, people, just straight up, people hated it. Some people hated it. Some people refused to understand what autism meant. Some people refuse to take in what it means to be on the spectrum. Everything's about normality. What, like, being normal, act normal, this is not normal, this ain't normal. If you can't live to their trend or to their expectation, like the student's expectation or the school group's expectation, then you are not normal to their
I was
eyes.
gonna say, what is normal nowadays? You know, like
That's what I'm saying, I don't think no one's normal.
There's lots of people doing weird stuff to this
Yeah.
day, and I used to wear like leather jackets.
Yeah.
and that was people used to think of me as weird, you know.
I wouldn't find leather jackets weird. If anything, I'd rather take leather jackets any day than what I used to wear back in school.
I used to want to start a band when I was.
And I don't understand why people find that. I feel like people would always find an excuse to just try and pick on people because it's just not in their...
clothing, the phone.
And it's just like, they don't understand it. So instead of trying to explore it for themselves, they're just gonna like judge you and project their frustration onto you. Okay, so time for a public Q&A. Thank you to everyone that submitted your Q&As. We have got them here ready to read out. We're going to be asking you two, giving you guys some insights of what the public wants to know about us. To start off with, somebody said, it feels like neurodiversity should be taught to teachers, or does that already happen? Now,
It depends, really. That's why you know, like some teachers can be very aware of neurodiversity and very supportive. My teachers were very aware of my ADHD.
yeah, wait 1 second, let me just lift it up.
They had to basically help me, guide me to get her. So, but I guess they're saying like it depends really. That makes sense.
Vixen?
I say, well, they should be aware because obviously they want to, if they're getting into teaching, they must like have done a dissertation or research project. They must know like training methods and how they can support, because they do that. Students can be different, and if their passion is to be going into teaching, then surely there should be ways they can interpret themselves.
I definitely, it's standard. It should be taught to kids. Like, teachers should teach their kids about neurodiversity, autism, ADHD. Definitely, it will help the child understand more about themselves. Because nowadays, let's say, obviously, in a very old time of our age where we were born, and like the 1900s, the 20th century, like in the 90s, 80s and whatnot, there was a lack of care of children, and how they would be addressed and how they would be made aware of their conditions. People wouldn't, if you're struggling in life right now, there's a reason why you're struggling in life. It's because you're not being influenced by the right people. It always goes not just by teachers. Your parents should be the ones helping you as well. I feel like if you have the right support system around you, you can at least be aware of how to progress in life, how to formulate yourself. Because there are people out there. Do you see now, have you heard a lot of, in today's society, of people getting diagnosed late or having late diagnosis?
Yes.
Or people not knowing about autism and stuff, and then they're having to like struggle mentally in their heads, and then they're saying to each other, "Oh, you may have something. Have you ever thought that you could be diagnosed with something with autism?" For my mum, obviously, just know, I was the first autistic born in the entire family. I was the only autistic. Oh, I was the only autistic person in this family until my brother, 15 years later. He's also autistic now. He's 8 years old. But yeah, I was diagnosed at 2. Before my diagnosis, my mum had no clue what autism was.
Neither did mine.
So obviously, my mum's she's a trauma therapist. She's a psychotherapist. She's a psychotherapist. So she's always studied in psychology and everything. And she actually went back to university later in her life to study these needs or what autism could be. So she could understand more about it when she's raising me, because she meant that she weren't going to be raising me in a special needs environment.
So what would that have resulted if she didn't go back to university by our boss?
I think, well, we never know. I can't answer, as much as I can't answer that question for her, I personally would think she probably would have struggled in bringing me up, or she would have always found a way. She would have always found a way, because it's my mom. My mom doesn't like to take the easy route out of anything. She meant already by the doctors, she's not going to put me in a special needs school, because once I'm in a special needs school, I'm going to be learning like a special needs child. And if you want to function in the world like everybody else, and you want to learn and adapt yourself, learn like everyone else.
I agree with what you're saying, because with special need as well, the resources are a bit limited, so like you can't progress until like mainstream. So let's say you have a dream or future or goals, you're gonna have to, it's gonna take time, because I know some people that went to school with me are still in college, or are still learning.
Yes.
Not wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. I did find it, I thought it was a bit, not wrong I would say, but I thought it was a bit, I don't know, how long is going to be the education for? But
oh yeah, I feel like there's that expectation on like your setback or your comeback, or how long you should be until you get to this point of your life. It's like, no, leave me alone. This is my time to do what I want to do, or let me work at my own pace.
But the only regret I have is listening to people dictating what I should do in my life. That's a big regret today.
You should live your life how you should.
Yes, I think now you should just follow it, because right now I want to get into the fashion industry. I think I want to follow that now and just stop listening, because even I would have to say my parents did dictate what I should and should not be doing because of money. So I see that having learning like everybody else or expecting like everybody else can have its setbacks as well.
I never realized that your parents had these expectations of you.
Because they wanted me to be more academic. They wanted me to go to university. But that's not what I really had my mind on. I like to experience them. I like to experience the fact of living on my own with people. That's like how you watch your Disney Channel, bro.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, yeah.
It's always expectation. When you see Disney, they always encourage you, like the parents, like, go to uni.
Yeah.
Uni is great. Especially in High School Musical.
Yeah. Oh my God, High School Musical.
Like the third one, Troy and Gabriella are pressure to go to university.
Yeah.
And Troy must have like a neurodivergent, Because his dad's like, uni's great, Troy.
Yeah,
enjoy
their acting
man.
was so like over the top. It's funny. I feel like with my parents, they never really cared about it's nice to go to university anyway. I've done it. I did it there. Got my degree. I'm happy. I managed to prove to myself that I'm more than just an average nobody. Like now, as an autistic person, someone with special needs who struggled in school managed to actually come out with a 2-1 degree, second class. I'm pleased with myself. I'm very pleased with myself. I honestly thought I weren't going to make it. And a lot of people have dropped out during my journey. I wasn't one of those people. And also, again, I wanted to set a legacy on my family, because everyone else, majority of my cousins, they start to go to uni again now. I've had people that have dropped out in their time. Now they want to give it a go again after watching me graduate. I would like to move on to the next one. Someone else has asked, can neurodivergence be mistaken for weird, odd, gay, and other stereotypes and how they act?
Okay.
I know where discussion is going, definitely.
All the time. I get it all the time.
Firstly, it's It's not weird, guys. All right.
I think for me, it's less of the, well, I've never been stereotyped, like, disabled wise, disability wise for autism, but I used to always, like, get mistaken for being gay, because I'm straight. So obviously people always, as a straight man like myself, because I'm very quirky and I'm flamboyant, I'm not like an other typical guys, like all macho. I am a masculine person because I identify myself as a man, obviously, but I obviously, yeah, I'm just quirky. And some people just don't like that.
I can relate.
And it's always like, oh, are you gay? Are you this? Like, first of all, you don't. Why does everything have to be sexualized? Like, it doesn't. Having a personality barrier doesn't mean you are this sexuality or that sexuality. Like, it means, oh, straight people have to act like this.
I'm just quirky in general.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be sexualized, you know? Like,
And I hate
Like
that
people are
so
smart
much
and
because
clever, you know what I mean?
I hate that so much because, like, being quirky is fun. It gives you more charisma. It gives you more personality. It gives you more of a chance to, like, outshine yourself. And I just feel like men are always perceived to be bland and basic and just like stuff like that. I can't do it. It bothers me. I'm not the type of person to keep quiet. I don't shut my mouth. I talk. I yap. I like to say the most. I like to do the most. And obviously, like, I do a lot of things as well. Like, I've done a bit of gymnastics. I like to dance. Yeah, I like to sing sometimes. Even though I'm not a professional singer, I have a good singing voice. Don't lie, I do sing. And yeah, all sorts. I'm just very expressive.
I like that.
Yeah, not directly, with word of mouth or action. Also with fashion as well, because I feel like my autism has helped me get into fashion.
Autism helps.
I was very shy. I mean, I was somewhat shy when it came to the real life world. College, I was a bit shy. I mean, I still had friends. I still have them on social media to this day, but I was always a very shy person. So I thought, you know what? I'm tired of being shy now. I'm tired of it. Why just not do something I really like with myself? And I've always liked clothes.
Yeah, what was you gonna say?
I was in primary school, I was showing myself a lot. I used to call him a tiny ball, and I used to like just reading my books, you know?
Yeah.
So you say, come make friends. My teacher was like, so I met my group of friends, and they had disabilities like me, and we got on really well. And so
That's really good. I thought I always struggled. Well, no, I mean, even though I've struggled to maintain friends, I have never gone in my life without friends. Like, I've always at least had somebody by my side. Like, I obviously, from school, I grew up with a lot of people. I still have 3-4 people from school to this day. They're still around. Obviously, they're still sticking by me. And obviously, I feel like having different friendship circles really help you develop yourself. Gives you a way of what you should do or what you should not do. And just gives you more understanding about yourself and how you can respect yourself and value yourself.
Like I said, I didn't have any friends in primary. I only had like one friend or maybe two. I had friends. I did play with people.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, usually I used to wander around the playground alone. People would think, oh, why are you always by yourself? I used to even make friends with people younger than me or older than me. Like 2 years older than me, let's say.
Yeah.
So let's say I was in year 4, right? I'll be making friends with let's say I'm in year 3. I'll be making friends with like people like in year 5 or 6.
Oh, yeah. I used to always go out with...
reception, there's this girl called Emma. I actually remember her name. She was so lovely. She treated me like I was her younger son, like a younger brother of hers.
Oh, I like that.
And when I was so sad.
I used to have this teacher called Jess back in my school. She was from Australia. She used to help me with my Ishy and tell me stay behind for sixth form, you know, because back then I was struggling to go to college, you know,
Yeah.
and I missed all my friends, you know,
Yeah.
so I felt a bit lonely.
Yeah.
So when she left, her visa got expired. She had to go back to Melbourne, and it was sad because I really missed Jess to this day. But hopefully I'll see it again, you know?
Yeah, no, that's.
But-
I think that's the thing with attachment. I will miss my friends a lot, or if I don't,
Even teachers
I
as well, I
can't.
can relate.
I struggle sometimes. Depends on like the impact I have with you. Like if you're like my really close friend, if you're my best friend, I will struggle to not see you for after a while, and it's like I get really sad. Obviously I handle myself a lot better now, but sometimes it's just like, oh, I really want to see you, or how are you doing, or it's just like, no. But that's why it's good to check up on your friends, because it's,
I really wish I still had Emma's number or something, because she left when I was in reception, end of reception, going to year one.
oh, I had that
I
happen.
still have one of my closest, what is the closest friend, but one of my closest teachers on LinkedIn. So I still talk to them.
I think what I used to do, first of all, I used to always want to hang out with older people. So when I was in year 7, I would hang out with guys in year 11. I obviously went past a barrier at one point of, this is where I had an autistic moment where I used to ask teachers for their phone numbers.
Oh.
And that's when I realized I wasn't aware that I crossed the line at the time. I was like in year 9, year 8, year 8. So I was like 13. Someone else has said, you'd say you got up. Let me repeat that. Do you say you would get along better with someone who is neurodivergent than neurotypical? So let me break it down into words for you. Do you get along with someone better with special needs, or someone who is on like normal?
I go with both really. Special needs and normal are both of my friends are diagnosed with special needs and normal.
Wait, sorry, let me just put this in the middle for you.
Just proud of that, and then yeah, so it's good to have a mix of both, you know, and they're very nice and friendly. So
And for Rixton?
that's good stuff.
I'd say both as well, but I think more neurotypical.
Neurotypical than neurodiverse.
Pretty much, it depends what neurodivergence you have, but I'd say, yeah, most of my time, the friends I've had are, not neurodivergent.
I would say I get along with both. Well, obviously I'm more with neurotypical people, because majority of my friends are neurotypical. Well, actually no, we're half and half now. Half of my circle are neurotypical, or less than half. More than half of my friends are on the spectrum, which I actually really like. But we don't notice that. So I feel like I get along better with people that aren't on the spectrum, because it helps me develop as a person. And I think getting through life really, it helps me to just get other people's perspectives. The next one I would say would be, can neurodivergent people notice or pick up on other neurodivergent people? So in other words, would you be able to tell if someone has autism or ADHD?
It really depends. Like if you see a lot of people, so with the autism or ADHD, so you have to look for the social cues, you know. But
Yeah,
also,
I think so too.
If they're well known, for example, if they're struggling, then yeah, absolutely. If you know them well, or you see them in the media, for sure. I mean,
Well, I was a person that did think that certain people had neurodivergent, but I didn't like to assume. And I still have a problem to this day. I don't really like assuming on people, but I do pick up on it, yes.
I mean, I'm very observant. I tell immediately. Sometimes I take the piss. I can't lie. I take the mic.
I'm the same as well. I'm very observant.
Like I'll be like, oh, are you this and that? But obviously, there are some people. I base it off like their social cues, like you said, communication, how you communicate, your responses, how you address me, or how you articulate yourself. Some aren't always noticeable, because a lot of people have said to me they can't tell if I'm autistic. Obviously, some people would say social barriers, if you're more socially overwhelmed or awkward, or don't really click in a conversation as fast as other people. I think it will be more of that case. But yeah, I think I always pick up on if you are autistic or ADHD autistic for the most part, because I'm still trying to understand ADHD a little bit for myself. One last question from the public would be, obviously, we're not doctors, but what are your thoughts on the main differences with autism and ADHD? So can you tell a difference?
Well, with ADHD, you are fixated on something and focus on something like that, you know? So it can be either reading, swimming, sports, or anything, you know? So it depends how you feel about it, you know? There are many people with ADHD, such as fictional, like Percy Jackson. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
It's Disney Plus series now.
Absolutely.
Percy Jackson, like himself, has ADHD. He fixates on finding these gold stars with Grover and Annabeth, and they're trying to find the lightning streaks.
Yeah.
Percy is accused, but he tells people that he has ADHD. He struggles with that dyslexia, but he overcomes it. He makes these friends, and people willing to suck him for years.
Actually, before I get on to the extent, what do you think autism is?
I feel like with autism makes you unique, creativity, and makes you smart. You know, there are many autism people out there in this world, and I feel like this should be loved, in my personal opinion.
Rixton, what do you see the difference of ADHD and autism? To the mic.
I think that they are very somewhat similar to. They can get a bit distracted, but I feel like autism is more hyperactive. They are, not used. It's very hyperactive, so like they have difficulty in settling down. They have difficulty settling down in like very enclosed environments like school or lessons. They'll play up, or sometimes they can find things a bit too overwhelming. Whereas autism is more communication and barrier.
Communication barrier is a thing with autism. I think autism is more of like delay, whereas ADHD, I think, well, how I see ADHD is obviously it's more fixated on certain things. You're more you're more hyperactive, more static,
More creative.
yeah. But I think I'm speaking from the mental aspect. I feel like there's more of I say it's like your head spins, I guess, for certain ADHD people. Someone in my nurture group in year 7 who has ADHD, he was very hyperactive, but like literally to the point where he would like go around smashing things up, destroying things, overstimulation of like getting erratic. It was all about doing erratic behavior, whereas autism it's more of, I say, social delay.
That actually scared me, because even I was in a special needs environment. I did not know how to handle people that were more complex, like throwing chairs, going up and down,
Yeah.
etc. I didn't know how to handle it a bit. Maybe now I can do it.
I was going to say, do you ever feel like with ADHD, autism in TV media, do you feel like they have a good reputation of how they view it, or do you think is a bit stereotypical when they come with those characters?
I think everyone tries to think everything autism ADHD are the same thing, whether it's not the same thing. People always, I think if you are somebody that doesn't understand special needs or neurodiversity, they will try and generalize it as much as possible. So in the state of they will just be like, oh, it's just you're disabled basically, or you have a mental disability. You don't go further in depth of how you perceive that. I just want to say one more thing before we wrap this up.
Okay.
How do you think it affects your life now?
I feel like it focuses me to be more goal-oriented. So when I do my swimming, that helps me focus. Like I'm dead long with ADHD. Like that'll help me get focus on that, or reading a new book, or watching a new film.
And for you, Rixton, how do you think it's affected your life?
I feel like it's helped me. It's helped me to educate people more, and I'm still educating. I'm still putting bits and bobs in my stories, and yeah.
I definitely want to say like it's impacted me in a way of in modern life now. I just want to say I had a job that I had 3 years. It was a bar in a nightclub I worked in. I enjoyed it really very much. Definitely developed me a lot. given me opportunities to...
Security, sorry. Or
I was a bartender. So I definitely, so I started off as a bar back. If you don't know what bar back is, it's basically like someone that would be doing more stocking and just like watching over the bar and just do stock picks and stuff. So anyway, I was bartending for 3 years and it was really fun. I made a lot of good, close friends there. I made some lifelong friends there. Definitely can look back on some people and say, you are my best friends. I consider you a family. We literally spend so much time together, spend so much things in our lives together. I literally felt personal, you know. They became not just my work colleagues, but my personal friends. Unfortunately and sadly, I did lose my job at the end of last summer.
sorry.
In the start of August, I got wrongfully fired. I'm not going to go into detail for the reason, but it really affected me mentally for a good few months. I was left very isolated and felt like I couldn't pick myself back up. And I've went through 5 different jobs since then, which I've not been able to maintain and stay at, or I have been fired for because some of the management saw something in me that they didn't like and they wanted to just get rid of me. And I think what I would want to take from this is I'm now starting to adapt to how my autism can affect my life. I want to progress. I want to become a better person. And it started to make me very cautious of how I am as a person because of my autism. And I just want to say I don't want it to set me back. I do not want it to set me back. I managed to finally be in a good place now where I can actually just work, pick myself back up again. And you know what? If it wasn't for the friends and the people and the family that supported me through it, I don't know where I would be, because that was a very hard time for me. And I think that's where my detachment came into place.
It's good to have that, because family support and like also it's good to share love, you know, where
Yeah.
I mean, what is that Black Eyed Peas song? Where is the love? Who is that, man?
So I would like to first of all conclude this video and say thank you guys for joining my episode today. It was amazing. I'm glad that you was able to come on. Thank you, Hussein, for being part of this special episode, because it was a really good way of spreading awareness. I just want to say to the audience and to everyone who's watching right now, don't be afraid to be yourself. If you feel like you have any doubts in yourself or feel like there's something there that you want to discover, feel free to leave me a DM or just speak to one of these guys, because we will be here to help you. I'm glad that I was able to inspire some of you guys based off our stories. I hope you guys are inspired. And yeah, definitely, I hope there will be more to come of this. I'm obviously going to be on all platforms once again, Spotify, YouTube and Instagram, so you can follow me on all the platforms there. And don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this from YouTube, or follow me if you're watching this through Spotify, and follow me at Ishy's Live Superstars Pod on Instagram. But no furthermore, I just want to say see you later and peace out.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you